back. This is Russ, the author of The Estate. Chapter 9 was about a basket. They find a basket. Ruby is particularly interested in this basket. It has something to do with her. We'll find out more about what that has to do with her. But the basket was a part of a company, a business that Harold Sumner, the original owner of the house, did back in Prohibition. They had a moonshine business, and they moved the product in baskets with baked goods. So that's the tie-in with the basket, but there's more to go on that. So get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, and let's move on to the next chapter. Chapter 10, The Basement. Every day after Ruby left, Anna would get her cardio in by doing 20 minutes of wheelchair laps around the first floor. On this particular day, she stopped by the door to the basement because she heard a noise. It was faint, but distinct, an unsettling rustling sound that piqued her curiosity. Feeling a mix of boredom and intrigue, she considered physically climbing out of her chair and going down the steps. Her arms were extraordinarily strong now, and it was easy for her to get in and out of the chair, pulling herself up on the bed or in the shower. She wondered if she could manage the stairs. The basement had always been a mystery to her, and she thought of uncovering its secrets was tempting. She sat there for 10 minutes, weighing the pros and cons, her heart pounding in her chest, before she decided to go for it. Anna checked to make sure the door had no automatic lock. She had a small flashlight in her pocket, although the basement had electric lights. They say every horrific event is preceded by a series of mistakes. Assuming she could get to the lights was Anna's first mistake. Her second mistake was leaving her cell phone in the pocket of the wheelchair. Slowly, Anna got herself out of the chair and sat on the first step. Her plan was to swing her legs and lift her butt onto the next step. She would move slowly and deliberately. She left the wheelchair holding the door open, so she had light, at least until she got to the bottom of the stairs. Okay, here goes nothing, she thought. Step 1, great. Step 2, great. Step 3, wait, where's my phone? Ugh. Back up a step, then another. Anna reached for the wheelchair. The pocket was not easy to get to because it was higher up. She pulled the wheel closer and reached for the pocket. This should be easy, she thought. She was wrong. In hindsight, it was not a good idea to prop open the door with a wheelchair, much less get out of it to descend the steps. When the wheelchair slid backward, the heavy door slammed shut with a deafening thud, and Anna tumbled backward. Thankfully, her athleticism had not been diminished by the accident. With cat-like reflexes, she was able to snag the railing with both hands, narrowly avoiding a potential neck-breaking plunge down a long flight of stairs. All right, she thought, just reach up and turn the knob. She turned the knob and the door did not open. What the hell? She tried again with a shoulder to help. Nothing. What Anna came to realize was that the wheelchair was wedged under the doorknob on the other side. Oh shit, I'm screwed, she thought. And no phone. She would be stuck in the basement until Ruby arrived the next morning. Unfortunately, the estate doors were locked, and Ruby didn't have a key. Why didn't she have a key made for Ruby? Ugh! Anna assessed her situation as she sat in darkness on the stairs. I'm basically locked in the basement with no food or water and only a small flashlight. Why was I thinking of food and water? She laughed to herself. I'm not in an episode of Alone. Ruby will find a way in. Roger will notice I'm not answering the phone, and he will save me. Do I really need saving? Anna cringed at the thought of being a damsel in distress. She was an anti-damsel. Okay, now what? Anna decided to go on with her basement adventure. The worst part would be having to sleep down here. At the end of the staircase, she saw an overhead light with a pull string. It was long enough to reach. Let there be light, she bellowed as she pulled the string. Unfortunately, there would be no light. The string snapped. Her trusty flashlight would have to work. She could light a torch, she thought prayerfully. Uh-oh, I have no matches, and this isn't an old Frankenstein movie. Anna did manage to find a large piece of cardboard that could function as a sled. The basement floor was rough concrete. It would have been hard to pull herself around without getting scratched up. Her little flashlight scanned the room. Dark corners, check. Cobwebs, check. Wine rack, check. Wait, what? Of course, there's wine. Okay, I won't die of thirst, she laughed to herself. Anna freaked a little when she thought she saw another person in the basement, but the other person was her own image in a cobweb-covered mirror. This is why I hate scary movies, Anna yelled out, her voice echoing ominously. When her heart stopped racing, Anna slowly dragged herself around the room, looking in each nook and cranny. There was a fair amount of wine in a large oak rack and a table with 2 chairs. There was also a bench at one end of the room. I guess that's where I'll be sleeping tonight, she thought. Better than the floor, I guess. She went on to discover a small credenza with a few glasses and a corkscrew. Okay, now I have all the survival gear I need. This won't be so bad. Anna heard a noise and focused the flashlight on an area where it came from. Oh crap, she yelled. She saw movement. Next, she saw a long tail on a furry body. It was a rat, a giant rat. Now, Anna wasn't afraid of too many things, but getting stuck in a dark basement with a giant rat was incredibly upsetting. She had never seen a rat that large, and she had seen a few in her life when she commuted by train. The body was facing away and then turned toward her. It had a large mouth and pointed teeth. Stay back, rat! I'll sacrifice a perfectly good bottle of wine to knock you over the head. The rat didn't have a rat-like mouth. What kind of rat was this? Turned out it was not a large rat at all, but a possum. Okay, I can deal with a possum, she thought. Much better than a rat. She raised her voice to scare it, and the possum was scared. She expected to play dead, but the next thing it did was jump right towards her. She screamed. Suddenly, there was silence, and the possum seemed to disappear. She scanned the room again, but no possum. She did, however, find the escape hole in the wall that was right next to her. The animal was not jumping at her. It was just wanted to escape. The hole must go up to the surface. Wow, no doubt she would have to have that hole repaired at some point. Was this a way to the surface? She checked it out, but it was small. She started thinking about the escape scene from the Shawshank Redemption and started laughing aloud. Anna always had the ability to make herself crack up, especially in stressful situations. This was one of them. Anna dragged herself over to the table, pulled herself up on a chair, and poured herself a glass of wine. The one she randomly chose was a 1967 Pinot Noir. Any port in a storm, she thought, and smiled about her play on words. Half a bottle later, she lay down on the bench and took a short rest. Before she rested, she stuffed a wine bottle in the possum hole so it could not return. No more critter surprises. When Anna dreamt again, this time it was a little bit of a nightmare. She could see Miriam in the basement mirror. She was in the house calling for Jimmy, but Jimmy didn't answer. Miriam was getting angry and started grilling Grant. Where is he? Where is Jimmy? Grant was cowering and responded, I don't know, Mama. In the next part of the dream, Anna could see Jimmy in the basement at a table. There was a candle on the table, and he was writing something in a book. Miriam was already at the cellar door. Jimmy, are you down there? Get up here for dinner. Jimmy hid the book and ran up the stairs. Anna woke and took a few seconds to remember where she was. A couple of hours had passed. She probably would have been calling or texting Roger for several times by now. She decided to look around a little more for anything interesting. Having a viewpoint from the floor, she was looking up at things. The credenza had a small drawer, but it was hard to open. It was jammed with something. The cause of the problem, it turned out, was a lapel pin. When Anna removed it, she could see that it was a decorative brooch that a woman would wear. It was sterling silver, a few inches long, and had a beautiful hummingbird image. Okay, Anna thought, this is something interesting. Next, Anna went on a quest to find a notebook she saw in her dream. Of course, this would be a fool's errand, she thought. What are the chances of finding something from a dream? Nevertheless, she scanned the room one more time. Nothing was found. Anna examined the pin again. I wonder if it was Miriam's or Marie's or Nora's. Is there a story about it? There were so many stories in this place. She checked the pin for an inscription, but there was none. As she was looking more closely, it sprung out of her hand and onto the floor. Ugh, I don't want to lose this thing, she thought, and went under the table to retrieve it. It turned out that dropping the pin was a fortunate event. There was a small shelf under the table. Upon closer examination, she could see a book on the shelf. Oh my God, this is incredible. Am I finding things from my dreams now? This must be Jimmy's book. The book was a journal. It had a leather cover with 2 rawhide strips that tied it closed. Anna quickly untied it and started to read. Unfortunately, her investigation would have to wait. Her little flashlight was starting to falter. It was blinking on and off. Finally, it was just off. Okay, Anna thought, now I have to do nothing until help arrives. I need my phone. How did I forget my phone? I'm losing it. Anna got up on the bench and tried to sleep, but it took a while to happen. After another glass of wine, she was out. The next thing Anna heard was somebody upstairs calling her name. Suddenly, the door to the basement flew open, and there was a flood of light. Anna could see the silhouette of a man. It was a wonderful man. It was Roger. She was never so happy to see him. He bounded down the stairs and gave her a big hug. You had me worried, my friend. What did you get yourself into?